All right, Ajit. So, Batman, Caped Crusader, world's best detective, and ultimately also known as the Dark Knight. So that's what we're going to be breaking down today. What are your thoughts on Batman?
Why are you so serious?
Why so serious?
um, Batman, yeah. I mean, legendary DC character.
Hmm.
Absolutely, one of the most iconic superheroes of all time.
Hmm.
Probably, I would say Marvel's version of Spider-Man in the sense of how
How big?
legendary he
Yeah,
is. He is,
yeah,
and also probably the only DC character where I know the majority of the villains as well.
yeah.
Because
I feel like he's one of the main characters where his villains could potentially sometimes even be bigger than him sometimes
Oh,
in the films.
100%. Yeah, in the films and even in the comics as well. He's
Yeah,
got such iconic villains, especially with the, film that we're going to be discussing today.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How about should we get into it?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. So, as always, we'll start off with a bit of synopsis.
Mm.
Obviously, last episode I tried to keep it under
You
a
tried to keep
minute,
it under a minute, but then
but
you said Tagliatelle, and then
yeah, I think I lost it
yeah,
after
then
that.
you lost it. Yeah,
Yeah, we kind of lost count. So,
yeah,
I'll try again today. Let's
yeah.
see. I mean, I'm not going to count this as part of the synopsis, but I'm just going to read a little bit of brief intro. Obviously, released in 2008,
Yep.
directed by the legendary Christopher Nolan, who's
Hmm.
recently won his first Golden Globe. So,
Congratulations, Chris. I
congratulations.
hope you're listening to this.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. Written by Jonathan Nolan, Christopher Nolan, and David S. Goyer,
Mm.
and it stars Christian Bale, the late Heath Ledger, and Aaron Eckhart. Winner of 2 Oscars, rated 9.0 on IMDb, and Rotten Tomatoes rating of 94% tomato meter and 94% audience score. All right, let's see. I can already tell this is going to be longer than a minute, but if I can get it within a minute and a half, I'll be
Do you
happy.
want me to time it?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Let's just see. So we have something to compare it
All
to
right.
later
Go on
on.
then.
All right.
All right.
So
Ready?
yeah.
Go.
Okay. So the movie begins with a group of clowns breaking into a mob bank and stealing their money, finally resulting in the Joker revealing himself. The Scarecrow from Batman Begins is reintroduced as Batman takes down the Chechen's men as well as Scarecrow. Harvey Dent is trying to convict Maroni, but a botched assassination attempt on Harvey results in the court case being delayed. Jim Gordon wants warrants to 5 banks that he believes are holding the mob's money. Lucius Fox has a meeting with Lau, who is basically the accountant for the mobsters, but Bruce and Lucius decide against working with Lau. Bruce also requests a new suit from Lucius. The Joker then interrupts a meeting between the mob and suggests killing the Batman, as he has been such a thorn in their sides. Batman gets Lau back into the country, where he is being held in jail. Joker, meanwhile, is killing people and requesting that the Batman reveals himself, or more people will end up dying. At the fundraiser that Bruce Wayne is holding for Harvey Dent, Joker tries breaking in and looking for Harvey, but instead ends up finding Rachel and having a fight with Batman. Joker has targeted the mayor as his next target, and at the funeral of the commissioner, attempts to kill the mayor but ultimately fails. So Batman then tells Harvey to hold a press conference so that he can surrender himself, but instead Harvey Dent surrenders himself instead. And as he's being taken away, the Joker ambushes the cars as well as the kind of SWAT team as well. Batman ultimately comes and saves the day. Joker gets arrested. Harvey and Rachel are found missing, and ultimately Rachel dies, and Harvey is half burnt by the end of it, and then ends up in hospital. Joker manages to escape, and he basically threatens that if Reese, who's one of the Wayne Enterprise employees, is not killed, then he will blow up a hospital. He ultimately goes and brainwashes Harvey Dent, blows up the hospital, and then threatens the whole city that the city is his, but the bridges are rigged with explosives. What ultimately happens in the final act is that Harvey ends up killing Detective Wirtz as well as Maroni, and the Joker is then captured by Batman, and his ploy to basically make two ferries blow each other up is ultimately spoiled and failed. But Batman believes they won, whereas Joker, his ultimate plan was to get Harvey Dent, Gotham's White Knight, to turn on himself and basically, try and find justice. But whilst doing so, he shoots Batman. He ends up trying to shoot Jim Gordon's son, but Batman saves him. Harvey Dent dies, and Batman basically tells Jim Gordon to let everyone know that he killed Harvey Dent rather than anything else happening, just to try and save Gotham's White Knight. Yeah, I still need some
Still
improving.
needs some improvement. It's
Still some
over two
improvement.
minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah, the producer will not be happy about
No, no,
that.
I'm sure we'll hear back from her soon later on.
Yeah.
But Dark Knight,
Yeah.
this I think this is probably my favorite film, or in the top two, I would say.
Wow.
I know we're going to be talking about this in more detail in a couple of weeks'
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I want to know, what were your initial thoughts when you were watching the film?
I mean, it's a film I've seen countless and countless of times.
Yeah,
I remember the first time I watched it, I just couldn't believe how incredible
yeah.
this film was, and I couldn't believe how like
Did you see it in cinema?
I did
Yeah,
watch it.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe how grounded the film was for it to being a superhero film.
It doesn't feel like a
It
superhero
does
film.
not feel like a superhero film, and it's very like modern brutalist, and very like in a way realistic.
Yeah,
It's basically designed in a way of how Batman would be like in real life.
yeah, yeah.
Which I found absolutely incredible. I absolutely loved the whole realism of it. It was brilliant. I'm watching it just thinking, oh, this isn't gonna be like, Batman Forever or like, the other ones. In fairness, like I did see Batman Begins, but I saw Batman Begins when I was like super, super young, that like came out in 2005. So, and even with that, I didn't watch it in cinemas. I watched it as like a pirate copy. So like, it was one of those things where I was like, okay, yeah, this is alright. It's pretty good. But it only dawned on me when I watched The Dark Knight how, modern it actually was. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is not.
I feel like Batman Begins was, when you watch it, it doesn't feel like you're in the modern day. It just feels a bit kind of backdated. Whereas Dark Knight brings it back into modern times.
Modern day, and just you can see that Nolan wasn't restricted to the origins of Batman. Like he wasn't restricted to it has to be like in the comics. It has to be like in the comics. He did it his own way, which I really like, and I wish more directors of superhero films did that. I know it's difficult now because everything has a universe, so it has to relate to the universe, and you got all these. You got with DC now. You got James Gunn, who's very militant in his ways. And you got Marvel's got Kevin Feige, who's also very militant in his ways, very set in their ways, very particular. So it is difficult to do it now, but I feel like it's starting to come back, especially with Matt Reeves as the Batman.
Yeah.
I like the fact that directors are able to create their own universes where it's just like, look, this has got nothing to do with any universe, nothing like that. It's just the Batman. Film. It's a standalone. That's all it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of, So yeah, when I watched it the first time, I was just blown away as how like incredible it was.
Yeah.
And also, the first superhero film where I was like, oh my god, the villain's better than the main hero, which I couldn't believe.
I think Heath Ledger as the Joker he just makes the film, and I think
100%,
for me, along with maybe Christoph Waltz as the villain in Inglourious Bastards, I think it's the best portrayal of of a character for me in terms of acting wise. I feel like
any character
in terms of just any acting I've ever seen.
Yeah.
There's a few which come to mind. So I would say Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Yeah.
For me, Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Bastards, and then Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood. Those are the three which I always think. Whenever I watch the film, I can't take my eyes off the screen when they're there. Because they're just so kind of captivating. Like the kind of appeal of the characters and the way that their psyche is, the way that they act and everything is just amazing. And I think in this film, he completely smashed it.
I mean, he is the standout of the film. He is the breakout of the film. It's just incredible. Like he didn't it's rare to have a film where you're rooting for the villain.
Yeah.
But in this, you are. It's just like he's just so badass, and like you really want to like see what he's gonna do next. And you're like, oh my god, like he's just absolute psycho. And it's definitely, in my opinion, one of the best like Joker portrayals on screen.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it is the best Joker portrayal because I would be giving Joaquin Phoenix as Joker a disservice because he also was incredible.
He was incredible.
But again, both their styles were similar. They were both different in their ways of the Joker. But
I would go as far as to say that Heath Ledger is the best Joker, just because I loved it so much.
For me, it's equal. It's equal because I do really, really like Joaquin Phoenix as Joker.
That's not to say his was bad.
Yeah, of course.
His was amazing.
Yeah, it's just Heath Ledger. He committed so much in that film, and
it's like public. It's basically public knowledge. Like obviously everything he went through to try and prepare for the role, and obviously it shows on screen, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like the dedication is there, and you just can't believe how incredible he is. It just comes naturally, you know.
Yeah.
So it's believable that he can be the Joker. Yeah.
You know, he's such a complex, layered character.
Yeah.
But you never find out about his origins or how he came about.
That's what I really like.
It's really well done. The fact that normally with all these complex characters, you find out about their background, their history. Him, you literally know nothing about. And even then, he's still so complex and layered. And I think that's what like Nolan did really well. It's one of the things in this film that he did really well. Just the way that he kind of didn't let you know anything about his past. It's just everything is in the moment.
I think like he's a very layered character.
Yeah.
And like it's a fact like he's got so much character development in the film, but yet you never find out his origins whatsoever.
Yeah.
You don't know who he is, you know where he's come from, but that's what makes him even more menacing. Because he's just like, who is this guy? How did he become like this? You know, you ask more questions than answers, but then it just makes him that like really intimidating anarchist, you know, figure.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think, you know, not only the acting side of things, but visually, because Christopher Nolan doesn't like to use a lot of CGI, it's a lot of practical effects. You know, visually, it was stunning the way everything was done. It's the first comic book film where they've used IMAX cameras.
Yes,
they've never used it before that. And I think for the scope of this film, the fact that they used IMAX cameras, which are normally used for documentaries and things, it added to the grandeur of Gotham, of the whole storyline as well.
Well, it was the first non-documentary shown in IMAX as well, you know, in cinemas, which is, you know, it's...
the first ever?
Yeah, first ever.
Oh, so not even just comic book.
All like, well, maybe, like, from what I know, the BFI IMAX, definitely. It was the first ever one actually screened on BFI. Because everything in IMAX before were like documentaries, like specials and stuff like that. Because IMAX was more like a niche thing, you know?
Yeah.
It was mainly just used for like these like lovely displays and everything like that, you know, that's what it was. It
nature,
was nature or space and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This was the first time they used IMAX for fiction.
Yeah.
And it would, you know, I wish I watched it in IMAX, honestly. I'm
jealous
that I never did to get to watch it in IMAX, but like that would have been an incredible experience.
Sometimes they do like reruns, right? In IMAX.
They do. Dark Knight is a constant film they always show at the BFI IMAX. Yeah. Yeah, but as in mainly just to be like to say I was there when it happened.
Yeah,
you know,
I know.
Would have been
like how when we went to go watch like Spider-Man.
No Way Home.
No Way Home.
In
like
IMAX on the day it came out.
Yeah. Like that experience would have been incredible to
100%.
see.
Yeah.
No, I mean I think, you know, just in general of the cinema, the trilogy that Nolan set up, this is the pinnacle. The other two films are good and like they are really good films, but this is just like it transcends.
This is the best one. It's the fact that like it's not just a good superhero film. It's an incredible film in general. You know, this like broke boundaries. I wish, you know, it won more Oscars than it did. You know, I think it deserved it. I think it really did. I think back then comic book films had such a bad stigma to them. You know, this film, I would go as far to say this film saved comic book films.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'd say. This is the film that saved it. It's the film that everyone, you know, watched and we're like, all right, we're going to take superhero films seriously now.
Because the MCU, when Iron Man and Incredible Hulk were released, was about 2008, which is when this film was released.
Same year. I think this was released first. And then
probably.
I can't remember.
But I think you're right. Like, it set up the whole precedent of, okay, this is now taking over. And that's probably why, you know, MCU and all these films, even though they've done well to do the storylines, but it's probably why it's had so much
definitely, you know, Dark Knight
success.
Dark Knight paved the way for the MCU and all these DC films, you know. I feel like Dark Knight did more for MCU than it did for DC, you know, which is quite funny.
I think it set such a high standard for DC that anything else coming afterwards...
It's going to be crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless it's made by James Gunn himself, it was going to be shit.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
it's a shame,
I agree.
You know, but that's how it was.
Yeah, I know. So in terms of obviously underlying themes that we've kind of spoken about a little bit already, but you mentioned anarchy. So I saw on alltherightmovies.com, they mentioned a really interesting take that's about duality and choice. So you kind of get a lot of moments in the film where it talks about the two sides. So the two sides of the coin, the Dark Knight and then Gotham's White Knight, Two-Face, the two fairies. You know, all of these are about duality, but it's also about choice. These people have chosen to... You know, like with Harvey Dent, he has two sides of the coin, but he always chooses both sides are the same. So
Yeah.
he's made his choice.
Yeah,
But then
yeah,
when
yeah.
it gets burnt, he then makes his choice based
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
The two fairies, they're choosing whether or not to blow the other one up, for
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
You know, and then the other one is fear and chaos. You know,
Yeah.
Joker says he's an agent of chaos.
Yeah.
And he's inciting fear in Gotham itself.
Yeah.
So it's like all of these things which are portrayed throughout the film in such a way that keeps you captivated. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I feel like whenever I watch it, it gets better every time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Because you know what's going to happen, but it's just, you just appreciate it even more. And like, but then you like analyze it and you're like, damn, like this actually means that.
Yeah.
When I watched it, I mean, when I was doing research, one of the main themes that I found was escalation.
Yeah.
All this starts because of Batman becoming Batman.
Yeah.
You know, and throughout the film, all the things that happen, you know, Rachel dying, Harvey Dent becoming Two-Face, all these like, you know, things like, you know, basically Batman, Gotham turning into an absolute war zone.
Yeah.
It's all because one man decided, I'm going to become Batman.
Yeah.
And
he took the mantle.
He took the mantle and look what he's done. Yeah. You know, it's escalation because before him, there were these small time crooks and stuff like that. But it's like once someone has all this advanced gear and technology and everything, then there will be even. But there's no telling what these villains will do in order to defeat this person. You know, and I found it very comparable to like how it's also about like rebellion / terrorism as well, but mainly because it's kind of a commentary on how countries like Iraq, Afghanistan, they're usually up to no good, and you know, like, you know, they've got like these small town crooks and stuff like that, and they're, you know, like just doing bits here and there. But then when the US government comes in, Batman, with all their armor, technology and stuff like that, they're like, oh damn, you know, we've been defeated. Are we going to fight? No, we're going to hit them harder, and we're going to do things even worse. So then they get all the artillery, they steal the weapons of the US. That's
really interesting.
They get the bombs and stuff like that. That's what, you know, this film is literally about. Because it's like, no matter how much more powerful Batman will get, and he may be, you know, as powerful as ever, and get all the weapons and gear and everything, there will be that villain to come in there and outsmart him. As we see in the next film when Bane comes in.
Exactly.
Because Batman's this big, brawly figure. He can outpower... Because Joker, you know, when he fights Joker takes every cheap move he can to defeat him, because Joker's nowhere near as strong. He's thin, but he's intelligent. Whereas Bane is both intelligent and powerful, which is a deadly combination. And you see that in the next film when he overpowers Batman and easily defeats him. You know, there will always be that next big villain. You know,
that's interesting. Because I think now you mentioned that, when you think about the third installment of the trilogy, at the end, Batman basically has to kill himself.
He has to get rid of
Bruce Wayne. He has to get rid of
Batman.
He
has to get rid of Batman,
and
so
that will then de-escalate everything.
De-escalate everything, because in fairness, like, Batman, you know, Gotham was a terrible crime city and everything, but Batman, all he did was just show the cops that these crooks aren't as powerful as you think. Because even in the start of the film, it's not Batman that's taking away every single criminal. You see Harvey Dent and Jim Gordon. They do it themselves. So it shows, do they actually need Batman? You know, do they actually need these superheroes? Do they need these vigilantes? Or is Bruce Wayne just doing this just because he has something to prove? You know, that's what was really interesting.
I think that also, because that also makes this film more relatable in the sense that it could be a very realistic film. That in the real world, you don't... You know, you have all these kind of authorities and people who are doing these kind of jobs. Like, having this one person may not always be such a good thing.
It's not realistic as well. How can Batman be in a car park one day, at one moment, and the next moment he's actually, like, you know, like stopping an armored car? You know, you know. I like the fact that it doesn't make the police force in the film like redundant. You know, it's like they're still doing something. And that's why I love the character Jim Gordon, because Jim Gordon is that cop. He's like, well, if Batman's doing this, I can do it as well. And he doesn't back down as well, which I love, you know? Because a lot of these superhero films, it's always that cop, the lieutenant, is like, oh, I'm not going to do anything because this person can do it. He only asks for Batman just for like stuff that he physically can't do. If Jim Gordon had a super suit like that, he would also be, you know, like fighting and everything and doing all those like things and everything like that. You know, so like, it doesn't discredit the police force that's in there, you know, which I really, really like.
That's a really interesting take. I didn't think of it like that.
But I think they deliberately don't like make it too political in the film, and they make it very thin, because obviously, like, back when it was filmed, there was so much tension going on and stuff like that. It's like, you can't make a film like that.
No,
no,
that's true. In terms of when you were doing your research, were there any kind of things which stood out to you in terms of behind the scenes facts or anything like that?
I know a lot of the. I mean, this is like a majority of people will know this probably, but I know a lot of Heath Ledger's stuff was completely improvised. The hospital scene when they blow up a hospital, which was an actual hospital they blew up, by the way. That the bit where the explosions stop and he's like doing the trigger. That bit was completely improvised.
That actually wasn't.
It wasn't improvised. Oh, I thought it was.
Apparently, so because of the way it was played, everyone thought it was improvised.
Oh, okay.
So when I was reading through it, where is it? So basically, the reason why they had him do that pause is so that Heath Ledger could get safely away from the hospital before it blew up. So, but he played it so well that you think it was improvised.
Right.
So
I genuinely thought he improvised that bit.
That's what I was searching up, like Googling, like was it improvised or that, and then it actually came up saying that they planned it that way so that the initial blowing up is like kind of small minor explosions whilst he's walking away, and it gives him enough time to walk away to get to the bus.
That is fair,
so that they can get everything else set up and rigged.
Yeah.
Because I always thought it was improvised.
That scene.
But he just played it so well.
Wow. That's incredible.
But he does do a lot of improv.
He does, yeah. He does so much improv in the film. Like his actions, the little bits, and like his like behavior movements when he's like like doing all those bits. It's like it's crazy that all that's like improv. It's just him just acting the way
like when he's in jail and he starts clapping.
Oh yeah,
that's improvised.
Yeah, that one I knew was improvised. Apparently, like he was just clapping. Apparently, Nolan saw him clapping. And he was like, get a camera, get a camera. And apparently Nolan was like, quick, go film him. Yeah, which is incredible.
It's amazing that they actually managed to capture it as well. And then the other bit which I've read was improvises. When he goes to the fundraiser?
Yes.
So then Rachel kind of confronts him.
Oh, yeah.
So the bit where he goes up to her and grabs her face.
I've heard,
that wasn't supposed to be in the script.
Yeah.
So that was all improvised, and you can tell
you can tell because she's genuinely like freaked out and she's like very uncomfortable.
Was there anything else that you kind of picked up or anything that you thought was quite, interesting when you were reading through everything?
It was mainly just the practical effects. Like you could clearly see a lot of it is not CGI. Which I found insane. I couldn't believe like he blew up a hospital because I kept like looking out for it. I was like, okay, maybe this time I might be able to see like a little effect or something like that.
Yeah,
the hospital was completely real. Like they blew up a hospital.
Yeah.
Like which director gets to do that in this day and age?
I feel like only Nolan
gets to do this.
Like in Tenet, he crashed the whole Boeing.
Into Earth. Yeah, which I'm like, what?
Who else is gonna do that?
Like how does he? How is he able to do that?
Even the next film, he crashes that whole plane. Like that was an actual practical effect.
Yeah. I'm just like, it's incredible how he's.
I think he's the master of that type of filming.
Modern practical effects, Nolan has perfected. He just knows how to do it, how to coordinate it.
Yeah.
I love all those like little bits and pieces that you see. You're just like, damn, like I can't believe he actually did that. I know for a fact behind the scenes wise, so when Two-Face's effect, the face. So it was like a new type of like mocap they were using, and apparently it was like tested out for this film.
Yeah.
And still to this day, I watch it and I'm like, I can't believe how insane that effect is.
You see CGI now, and you're like, what are they doing?
But it's incredible because like that's probably one of the few moments they actually use CGI in the film.
Yeah.
And it's flawless. Like every movement he does and his actual face. It syncs up so well with that face. It actually makes you think, did they just scan what's underneath him? I'm like, oh, that's so... It's not, obviously, because it's all burnt up as well. So they built it. But it's incredible how it syncs up to his actual face. And even when he drinks, like, the whiskey,
you see it trickle down.
It's so detailed. And even, like, stuff like when he's lying down face, like, on the burnt face, on the bed, and when he lifts up, you can see blood come off it because that's what would happen in real life if the guy had his face blown off and like half it was covered and he's leaning on the thing.
Not just going to be
the blood. Yeah, the blood's going to go on there.
Exactly.
I like how detailed Two-Face is. It's incredible.
His even him, like the way that his character developed and kind of came about. Yeah. He's supposed to be this righteous district attorney.
Yeah.
And then he just turns like complete 180. He's like complete opposite to what he started off
I know because Rachel died. That's it. Yeah. That character is very accurate to how he turns into Two-Face in the comics.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very accurate.
Because like it's very realistic.
It's realistic. Yeah. He's probably one of the few Batman villains which is very realistic. It's a realistic. Even though he has his face half blown off. Yeah. That's just a metaphor of like he's two-faced. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely incredible.
Nolan didn't actually want to direct a sequel.
Really?
Because I think like the style of films he does, he likes doing one and then done films.
Yeah.
But the kind of opportunity to write a film about the Joker was too hard to miss up, so that's why he went back to it.
So it was literally just going to be Batman Begins?
No, so I think someone else would have ended up directing, he didn't want to direct
I think he didn't want to do this one.
Because I think he
is very... I mean, it's his only franchise he's done.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the only trilogy he's done,
I know, yeah. So he didn't want to direct, but I think with the Joker and basically all the... they decided to cast Heath Ledger and everything. I think the opportunity was too big to miss.
Well, I mean, he would have... I can't imagine that film being directed by any other director. It had
the way that his style is, I think, and the way that is such a big, kind of expansive film, he loves doing those type of shots, those type of scenery. And I think he, like we said before, like he basically smashed it.
He just absolutely nailed it.
So a few casting rumors, same as we've done before. So Rachel McAdams and Emily Blunt were considered for the role of Rachel Dawes. Mark Ruffalo and Matt Damon were considered for the role of Harvey Dent. But Aaron Eckhart was chosen because he was reminded Nolan of our favourite friend, Robert Redford.
Dear Lord, Robert Redford.
This is the third time he's come up in our podcast series.
He can't show up in next week's one, right? Like, he can't. Like,
nah. In the next top 250 breakdown...
He probably wasn't born then, right?
No, I think he was.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, dear Lord.
No. But it's Godfather Part 2.
It is Godfather Part 2.
We've already mentioned him in Part 1, so we'll just skip him over.
Damn it. I'm sick of Robert Redford's name popping up in every single episode.
I know.
Yeah.
I think this is it. This is that. We've counted him 3 times now.
3 times now. He better not show up next week.
I think Rachel... So, is it Maggie Gyllenhaal?
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
I really liked her as Rachel Dawes. I think compared to who did it in the first?
Katie Holmes. Oh, she was crap as well.
I really liked Maggie Gyllenhaal because I feel like she was a bit more of a grounded character.
She was grounded. I don't know.
Would you have preferred Rachel McAdams or Emily Blunt?
So both those actresses I like in general more than Maggie Gyllenhaal. I think Rachel McAdams would have pulled it off really well.
She is very talented.
She's a really good actress.
Yeah. Emily Blunt, both of them are amazing.
They would have been both. Actually, I think either... No offense to Maggie Gyllenhaal. I think she was good.
Yeah.
But that's it. I think she was just good.
Not great.
Yeah. Whereas I think Rachel McAdams and Emily Blunt, either of them would have smashed it. Emily Blunt... I don't know if I see her as Rachel. But Rachel McAdams, I can definitely see.
Yeah,
I could see Rachel McAdams as Rachel, and that would have been cool to have seen her in
one of these films.
I think she would have suited it.
Yeah.
Matt Damon as Harvey Dent would have been sick.
You think?
Oh my god, I can actually.
I can see both of them. I can see both of them.
Mark Ruffalo, not so much. I can't imagine Mark Ruffalo turning to Two-Face for some reason. I think it would be too nice. But Matt Damon, I could imagine Matt Damon as Two-Face.
Yeah.
But I still do. I really love Aaron Eckhart. I thought he pulled it off.
Yeah. I think it was the right decision.
It was the right decision.
He portrayed the character really well.
Yeah, I just can't believe him running with Robert Redford.
Yeah, I know. Right, this one's gonna make you laugh. So I don't know if you read this, but there's a city in Turkey.
Yeah.
Which basically tried to sue production as the film had a negative impact on the city.
What?
The suit, it didn't go anywhere. But guess what the name of the city was?
Batman.
Yeah. There's a city called Batman in Turkey.
There's a city called
and they
Batman
tried
in
to
Turkey.
sue the whole production because of all the negative connotations, I guess, afterwards.
I need to Google this right now.
Google it.
But, oh my god, there is a city in Turkey. It literally, I thought it was going to have like maybe something like exclamation marks. And no, it literally just says Batman. I'm going there for holiday. I need to go. That is incredible.
Maybe we'll do like if we ever do like a podcast abroad kind of thing. We can do it in Batman.
We have to go visit Batman. Yeah, I'm curious to see what the reviews of this say. This is, I guess, the real life Gotham City.
Yeah.
Oh, this looks beautiful though. Oh my god, like it actually looks really nice.
It's really nice. Yeah.
All right. Next holiday we're going to Batman.
We'll pin it on our
board. We're going to Batman.
So the last one that I have is Batman. He drives the Batpod. He drives the Batmobile.
Yeah.
And then he also drives his own motorbike and then Lamborghini Murcielago. Yeah. So Murcielago actually means bat in Spanish.
So smart.
And the way it was all dark, the car and everything is, for his normal car.
Yeah.
Can't really say Lamborghini is a normal car. But
no,
for him,
For him,
that's a normal car.
Yeah. I mean, a Lamborghini in that film is a much more normal car than the Batmobile.
Yeah. You can't just go around driving, especially his
army
one.
tank.
Yeah.
Which also still is incredible that like still to this day they could easily make the Batmobile CGI, but I love how every single filmmaker they're like, nah, like it has to be an actual Batmobile.
Yeah.
But the Batpod is incredible.
That was
like
sick.
I remember when I saw that first time, I was like, I literally saw that and I was like, right, when I'm older, I want that motorcycle.
It's crazy,
because that is such an incredible like. Oh, the reveal of it is so cool as well, you know.
Especially when everything starts kind of shifting back, and then he just shoots out from it.
It's incredible. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. See, that's why like I love that it doesn't, it doesn't get too realistic. You know, it still has its comic book elements, and that's one of the bits where it's like, yes, he's still got his gadgets, he's still got stuff like that. You know, yeah.
All right, I've got a couple of games for you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn this way so you can't see.
Okay.
Have you ever done blind ranking?
No.
So what is going to be? I'm going to give you 5 options, right? So these are blind ranking Batman villains. So I think we can all agree that Joker is probably the best villain in the Batman universe. So I'm not going to include him in this. I'm going to include 5 others.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you who they are.
Yep.
I'm basically just going to give out a name, and then you rank them from 1 being the best villain to 5 being the worst villain.
Okay, great.
So let's start off with Bane. Yeah. So you don't know who the other 4 are. You need to think where you're going to put.
This is Batman overall, and not just Nolan.
Not just Nolan. Right? No, comic books.
Okay, comic books. Bane is a 3.
3. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul is a 2 for me.
Okay,
I really like Ra's al Ghul.
Okay, interesting.
Really like Ra's al Ghul.
All right, Scarecrow.
1.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna. I don't. You can't change it now. Yeah. But after these next 2, I don't know if you're gonna regret. But go on. What were you gonna say about Scarecrow?
Scarecrow after the Joker is one of my favorite villains.
Okay, fine. Okay, then maybe not. Then okay. The second last one, Riddler.
4. It's easy. I've never been the biggest Riddler fan.
Really?
I'll be honest with you. The only Riddler adaptation I like was the recent Batman. Yeah, Matt Reeves. That's the only time I liked it. But other than that, Riddler's just a goofy guy in a green suit.
Yeah.
That goes, riddle me this.
Yeah,
fine.
That was a lot more realistic. This.
Yeah. I like the fact that they made him a serial killer in this one. Yeah.
All right. So the last one, Two-Face.
Oh, I don't want to rank Two-Face last now. Can I switch?
No, you can't.
Fuck. Okay, fine. He's last.
So you said Scarecrow. You said Ra's al Ghul, Bane. Then you had Riddler and Two-Face.
But I wouldn't say he's the worst. I would say.
I'm saying in terms of he's just. Yeah. I'm not saying he's the worst, but in terms of those 5, essentially you've put him last.
Scarecrow for me, it's just like it's such a great villain.
Yeah.
And I would love to see a Batman film where the main villain is Scarecrow, because Batman Begins, the villain is not Scarecrow.
No. Yeah. I would like to know more about him because, like you said, he's not. Obviously, in Batman Begins, you learn about him and everything, but as you said, if he's his main villain, they can go a lot more into depth.
I think if they ever decided to make a Batman movie where the main genre they wanted it to be a horror, then Scarecrow is the best villain for that, because they could genuinely make a terrifying villain. Because in like the Arkham games, Scarecrow is like one of the villains for that.
Yeah,
and some of the missions you do for Scarecrow are terrifying. Yeah, it's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. So this second game is called Start, Bench, and Cut. Okay, so. I'm going to give you 3 Batmans. So 3 actors who have played Batman, and then 3 actors who have played Joker.
Okay.
And then I want you to start one, so who's your favourite.
Okay.
Bench one, who you would have as a backup. And then cut, so you wouldn't want. Okay?
Yeah.
Even if, like, it's going to be difficult possibly, but let's just see how we go, okay? So with the Batmans, we've got Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and Robert Pattinson. Now, I know we didn't see much of Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
But they're the 3 most recent ones.
Yeah.
So out of those 3, who would you start? Yeah. So who would you like have as your top choice?
Top choice. For me, it's gonna be a bit controversial. Robert Pattinson.
Really?
I think Robert Pattinson is one of the best Batman portrayals for a long time.
Yeah.
Because with Christian Bale, and I was gonna get on this later, but I'll say this now. Christian Bale as Batman's amazing. I think he's great as Batman. He looks intimidating, but when he fights, watch The Dark Knight again and just watch when Christian Bale fights.
I know.
It's so slow and so stiff and everything. Whereas
I don't like it, yeah.
When you see Robert Pattinson fight, oh my God.
Even Ben Affleck. His, in...
actually, no. Ben Affleck, not... I mean, it's a bit obvious what I'm going to say about Ben Affleck, but with his fighting scenes, though, in the fighting scenes like Batman vs Superman, they're incredible.
In that.
He does do well. But the fighting scenes in The Batman are
That were really good.
epic.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and it's so brutal with every punch.
Yeah.
He's brutal, but he's also fast as well, and
Yeah.
he can actually jump and everything.
Yeah.
So I would say actually Robert Pattinson is my star.
I would say so. I think Christian Bale is a good Batman, but he's a really good Bruce Wayne. Because if he's playing the playboy role kind of thing, he's really good at.
Christian Bale's a great Bruce Wayne, but not the best Batman.
Yeah, exactly. So this we're kind of looking at the Batman perspective.
Just Batman, Robert Pattinson, 100%.
Okay, so I think I already know, but who are you going to bench?
Bench is Christian Bale,
and then
Ben Affleck can just go, because besides that fighting scene, he is one of the worst Batman that has ever existed. His suit, he literally looks like at any moment his suit's gonna rip.
It's like a tire.
It's so tight and he's so bulky. I'm like, I hate his horns as well. His horns are so tiny.
They're really tiny. I
hate that. I'm like, it's the Batman. Make his horns big. You know.
I prefer so Christian Bale's second suit that we get introduced to in this film.
Yes.
And Robert Pattinson's. I think those suits are a lot more like defined, a lot more chiseled.
Yeah,
whereas Christian Bale's first Batman suit and then Ben Affleck's, I feel, are quite similar. They're very padded out.
Yeah, very bulky.
Yeah, a bit too bulky.
A bit too old-fashioned,
I feel like it slows them down too much.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, so now moving on to Jokers. So Heath Ledger, Joaquin Phoenix, and Jack Nicholson.
Cutting Jack Nicholson out.
All right,
Jack Nicholson's so ridiculous.
But I think that film was meant to be.
It was iconic, I know, yeah. And it's Tim Burton as well, I know.
Yeah.
But he's absolutely ridiculous.
All right, so we've cut him. Who would you start out of the other two, and who would you bench?
This is difficult.
I already know how to do. I've said it already.
Yeah, you said it already. Okay, I'll bench Joaquin Phoenix and start Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger is just iconic.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix is he's good, but he's very new.
Yeah.
He's very new to the role.
I think when he's got his sequel coming out later this year, we'll be able to see more of him as Joker rather than just as pre-Joker.
Just as pre-Joker. I'm excited to see more of him as Joker. So I would say bench Joaquin. Yeah. But Joaquin is great as Joker.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think, both of them, even Jack Nicholson, I think at the time he received a lot of kind of praise for the role because it was so different.
I know, but now
it's very out there.
It's aged.
These two are very,
it's aged very badly.
These two, I think, are more kind of grounded in the sense that it could happen even nowadays.
Yeah.
What do you, was it Barry? What's his name?
Barry Keoghan. Keoghan. So Irish.
Jared Leto, I think in Suicide Squad, I didn't like him.
Jared Leto doesn't deserve.
He was more like a rock star.
He doesn't deserve to be anywhere near the Joker list. That was not the Joker. That was ridiculous.
But him, the other guy, Barry.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because you've only seen a glimpse of him.
You've only seen a tiny bit of him.
But he looks terrifying.
He looks terrifying because he looks like he's got his mouth like split open.
Yeah, literally.
Because it genuinely, his mouth looks like he's got even bigger scars than Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger's,
I think he'll be good. I think he's going to be more like a proper, even bigger psycho, more like
a
literally
bit more
like
unhinged,
mentally insane, like to a point where he'll probably just be like an animal.
Yeah.
I think he'll be good. I think Barry, he's a great actor. It's hard to tell right now. I don't think he'll be as good as like Joaquin or Heath.
Yeah.
But I think he will be a great Joker.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be the next villain though, because we've had too many Jokers now.
Yeah.
I want him to be like the overall villain.
Yeah.
So like when they do the Batman Part 3, then I think I want Joker.
Who would you want in Part 2 then?
Part 2, I want Scarecrow. I think Scarecrow will be great.
Good.
Part 2, or maybe a villain that we haven't really seen before. There's like one guy called Calendar Man.
Okay.
He's like a really deranged serial killer.
Yeah.
So maybe him. But other than that, I don't know what other villain. Maybe that's the thing. They've done most of the villains already.
Yeah. They've done them quite a lot.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. Maybe like someone.
They need to bring something new to the role.
Because they did. Riddler, I think, was the one that needed an update.
Yeah.
Maybe Mr. Freeze from
he's not aged well.
From the Batman vs. and Robin. But I don't know how you're gonna make Mr. Freeze serious because he's absolutely ridiculous.
Unless because especially if the films are a bit more grounded, I don't know how they're gonna get to that.
Yeah, I don't know how they'll make Mr. Freeze grounded, or maybe like I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Yeah. I think realistically, it's gonna have to be like I think it's Scarecrow.
I think Scarecrow would be good.
Scarecrow would be great.
He gets his own film.
From
villain point of view.
There's just so much you can do. Like it can be a proper psychological thriller, like a really like terrifying.
Getting into Batman's head and messing with him.
100%.
So there are a couple of things which I found which are quite interesting. So each of Nolan's Batman films basically starts off with the camera moving towards the bat signal.
Yes.
But each film and the bat signal foreshadows what's going to happen in the film.
Yeah.
So Batman Begins, there's a colony of bats, out of which emerges the bat symbol.
Yeah.
Then obviously in the film, he then turns into Batman. In The Dark Knight Rises, the symbol's surrounded by ice, which cracks and breaks.
Yeah.
So obviously the villain Bane breaks Batman's back.
Yeah.
And then in The Dark Knight, the symbol's engulfed in flames because some men, like the Joker, just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
So I found that really interesting. I never noticed it. I just thought it was like a cool way.
Yeah, it's always like the symbol, just the bat symbol and something there. Yeah, I've always loved the way they did that.
And then when the film starts, obviously it's the whole kind of Joker and his men breaking into the bank.
Yeah.
So that bank is actually shot in a post office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's actually a post office.
Wow.
And then the music that's playing.
Yeah.
So it's very like unsettling, unnerving music. And what it was is Hans Zimmer, who did the score, he only used the D and C notes as a reference to DC.
Yeah.
And he basically played them as for Joker's theme song. And it was done by playing piano wires with razor blades and the guitar with shards of metal.
Yeah.
So this obviously indicates the type of weapons that Joker ends up using as well.
But it's
never noticed
it's that harshness as well of the music, because every time you see the Joker, he does something, it's like it's so like harsh and like thing. But that's his style. He's actually deranged. He's not clean. He's messy, and he's a very harsh villain and like a brutal villain. Very and it's more playing anarchy as well. I heard that Zimmer actually wanted just to play one note. For every time Joker came on, he literally wanted the Joker's theme to be one note.
Yeah.
But then the company said, no, you have to do more than one note. So he said, okay, I'll do two notes.
Yeah.
So and they were like, all right, whatever, do what you want.
Man.
So, I mean, I love the fact that every time Joker's going to be there or something's going to happen, it's just that eerie note that's coming.
That build
up,
Oh
my God, something's going to happen.
I know, like your heart starts racing.
I've never seen a film where the soundtrack's done that to me, where I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, what's going to happen? Yeah.
You start just feeling uneasy, isn't it? Yeah. What did you think of his introduction? Like, obviously,
it's
the bit where the camera reveals, when he takes his mask off, that's the closest we get to the Joker. We don't get any closer than that.
Yeah.
And that first shot,
and the fact that he says crazy, like crazier.
That whatever doesn't kill you simply makes... No, stranger.
Stranger, yeah. It's the fact he's a stranger. That's the first time you see him. I love the fact as well, like when because the thing is, we all know who the Joker is.
Yeah.
We know who the villain's going to be. We know how iconic the Joker is. I like the fact that they are like teasing us with him as well, with the Joker masks, and also when the gangs are like, so what's the Joker guy like? What's the Joker guy like? It's like they're kind of like hyping
it's like his
us
origin story in a way.
Yeah, origin story, but they're hyping us up because we're like, we know he's there. But oh my God, like I'm so excited to see him. And then when you do see him, it's almost like when your favorite singer walks out on stage. It's like that, like
excitement.
Grand reveal, And you're like, oh my God, he's here,
Yeah.
And I just love that entire bit where they're all just killing each other just to get the money and
kind of eliminating each one by one.
It's such a great opener to a film.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that line is like one of the best lines ever.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
It's like a twist on like a normal kind of cliche saying.
Yeah.
But in a demented way that only people like the Joker can kind of do.
Exactly, yeah.
And then obviously afterwards, after the whole kind of scene, you get introduced to the Joker, but then you start to get reintroduced to the Batman.
Yeah.
When he's in the kind of car park and then Scarecrow's there. He's the only villain that actually returns in the trilogy.
Yeah, he's
none of the others.
He's the recurring. He's that reoccurring villain.
Exactly.
He's always there. Yeah. Also played by Cillian Murphy.
Yeah,
which,
exactly.
I couldn't believe when I realized it was him. I was like, oh my God, that's Thomas Shelby.
Because you forget, isn't it?
Yeah, you would forget that's Cillian Murphy. Yeah.
The only thing I thought, so there are a couple of plot holes which I kind of noticed in the film. It doesn't detract from the storyline. It doesn't make it any worse, but it just maybe makes it a bit less realistic. So when the kind of dummy Batman are coming in with the guns, and then you see Christian Bale's Batman grab the gun and then bend it.
Oh yeah.
How did he not see him? He was right in front of him.
I think. Well, in fact, he's on his side. I think that's just a play on like how Batman can blend with the shadows, and that whole thing, he uses the darkness to as ally.
Okay,
I think it's that whole thing, and also he's so blinded by the thing, he doesn't realize that Batman's right. I also think that's the best way they could have revealed him in that film.
Because there's other bit that I noticed where they did a very similar thing.
Yeah.
When it's the fundraiser.
Yes.
And then Joker's like, he gets kicked by Rachel. It's like, oh, you got a little fighting you. I like that. And then Batman's like, "Are you gonna love me?" But he's right there.
Okay, that one's a bit difficult to defend.
Like everyone is there. Like, does he just sneak up behind them?
Literally like bright lights as well. Yeah, that one is a bit funny. Yeah, because it's a bit sad because those are my two favorite. Like, those are two of my favorite like Batman reveal scenes. Because I love that bit where he bends the gun. Because like that's the first time you see him as well in the film.
Yeah,
and it's such a great like reintroduction to Batman. You're like, oh, there he is. Like, there's the real Batman.
Yeah,
and I like the fact that he doesn't take it easy on the guys trying to mock him, because he beats them up as well. And he arrests them as well because they're technically committing illegal crimes as well. But I like the fact that that bit where he's like, well, "You're gonna love me." It's like he's right in front of you, mate.
I know. Literally. How did no one notice him? But I guess, as you're saying, they're trying to make him seem like he just blends in with the shadows. So I didn't think of it like that, because now that you mention it, it makes sense. But then the other thing I noticed is in the bank scene, you know, when Joker shoots that guy with the shotgun, the bank manager.
Oh, that should have killed him.
Yeah, well, not even that, but there's no blood. So you don't see any blood splat out, which I can see if it's a PG film.
I think it's because it's a 12. It's a rated 12.
But then when he's lying on the floor, there's no blood anywhere there. And again, if it's to do with the whole 12 rating, I can understand.
I think it might be because of that. Because I think with the 12 rating, there's a lot you can get away with in the films. I think the film gets away with a lot of the threat and the like uncomfortness with that. It's like, I think if they put blood in it, then it would have been bordering 15.
Maybe, I guess so.
Especially with that scene, I think majority of that 12 rating probably got like pulled in when you see that bit where the guy's hanging from the building. Because that bit was terrifying. That was bad, and like, if a kid saw that, like a little kid, oh my god, they would shit their pants. You know, because like it's a jump scare, but it's so disturbing, that scene. But even like the Batman reveal, like, and like when he like even like arrests like the vigilantes and everything as well. I just love that line. It's like, what's the difference between me and you? And I'm not wearing hockey pants. That is like, that's literally it. Yeah, that's literally it. Like, once the Batman pod's closed, like Batman movie's closing, I'm like, oh, Batman's great.
He's sick.
Yeah.
And I think in the trilogy, you kind of see how in the first film they need Batman. And it's kind of like everyone loves him. In this film, as we said, there's that duality. Some people think that he's not needed. And some people think that he is. So, like, for example, when they go to the restaurant, Harvey is saying that there's a need for Batman and that they're proud of him, whereas Bruce Wayne's date is saying that the Batman is not needed. So there's that duality as well.
Of it,
and then obviously it leads to the line, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's one of my favorite lines.
It's the best line in the entire film. And it's the fact that it keeps reoccurring in the film as well. You know, everyone keeps saying it. And that's basically, it's the plot of the film. You either die of a hero, or you live long enough to become a villain.
It happens with both. So Harvey essentially dies a hero here. And Batman lives long enough to become the villain. But then in Dark Knight Rises, when Batman dies, he essentially dies a hero at that point. So it's like these themes kind of go throughout the trilogy. It's not just that one film.
It's kind of again play back into that whole rebellious attitude and like with the whole thing with like fighters and stuff like that. So like when people do like, you know, revolutions and stuff like that, you see like the ones that were all great and pure, they all died in battle. But the ones that lived on, they all became dictators and like really evil people in the end.
They're not like martyrs.
They're not martyrs. You only become the martyr when you die, which is kind of the point of Batman. And like you see that it's the reality of being a hero. You know, it's like you're only going to be a hero for so long until the people say, okay, who's the next big threat? You are, because you're the one causing all this shit. You know, it's all your fault.
Because even in here, he's looking for someone to take his place. Harvey then ultimately doesn't become that person, but in Dark Knight Rises, he finds who Robin essentially is going to be. He then in the end
he
takes
becomes
the mantle.
He takes the mantle.
But then we finally get to see Joker in his full kind of get up. When when all the mobsters are in the kind of kitchen scene or the restaurant or wherever it is, and then the Joker comes in. And then you see him with his purple suit, you know, his iconic dress, essentially. You know the filming of the disappearing pencil trick? Did you read anything about that?
I didn't actually read anything about that.
So apparently it took overall 2 days to shoot because they tested loads of different materials, because they couldn't just use like a normal table. Because it would have been obviously painful. So they used like rubber and stuff like that, but rubber was too hard. And a couple of times when he did it, he actually knocked out the person whose head gets hit.
My God.
Because like how hard he done it. And the way they did it, because you don't see it as like a cut shot, it's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
one
yeah.
scene.
It is, yeah.
So what happens is the guy comes, Joker smashes a pencil into a table, right? The guy comes, and when he gets there, he has to put his hand around the pencil, drag it away so that his head can go down.
Okay.
So that's why it's all done in one shot.
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
see the pencil.
And you never see the table with the pencil because he's actually
so
dragging
quick.
it. Yeah.
And he basically, he knocked him out a couple of times. So during filming, he did it, and Heath Ledger was like, "Oh, like you okay, kind of thing."
That guy must have had some serious brain damage
God,
by the end of it. Because that poor guy, like literally, like you show up, he's probably just an extra.
An extra.
And he's like, "Oh my god, I get to work on the next Batman film." You know, and not only that, I get to have a scene. What's my scene?
Yeah.
You're gonna smash your head on the table.
What did you do at work
times.
today? He was like, "Oh yeah, I just got knocked out a couple of times."
They didn't even ask him, "What did you do at work today?" Because he was just like, you know, speak like you couldn't even speak. He was like like that. What I love in that scene as well, I don't know if you noticed it. So when he comes in, he's doing that like fake laughter. It's like ha ha ha, he. I like the fact that the first laugh of the film, it's kind of like a piss take to the Joker, you know, because the Joker could have come in like laughing like he always does, like in everything where he's like, you know, like I mean, and he does do that later on in the film.
Yeah.
But I like the first laugh rather than coming in like laughing like the typical Joker. He's kind of taking the piss out of all the other previous Jokers and also the comic book character, saying that ha ha ha, is this what you want me to be? Am I the Joker? Because he looks like the Joker, but he looks like a guy who's a psychotic serial killer.
Yeah.
Just putting Joker face paint on.
Yeah.
You know, that's all it is. Because even the smile as well, it's not a smile, it's scars.
No, it's scars.
It's scars. Yeah.
He could tell that he's very kind of meticulous, and even though he says later on like he doesn't think about stuff, I think there is obviously an element of thinking behind his persona.
He's smarter than people think. Because he says, "Oh, I'm just I'm just a crazy clown, this and that."
Yeah.
I don't think he's crazy because he even says as well when he's like, like he says like, "I'm not crazy" in the beginning scene. I think he's genuinely telling the truth. I think he is a smart, calculated.
When they said like he doesn't like to be called a freak or crazy.
Yeah. I think he's telling the truth. I think he's just a bit extravagant because he knows what he's doing and he's so intelligent and smart. He's probably the smartest Joker out of all of them.
His story is always changing about like his scars, for example.
Yeah. So exactly. Yeah,
you never know.
You never know. Yeah, because first he says it's about his dad. Then he says, that his wife did them. My favorite one though is like, "Hey, by the way, do you know how I got these scars?" But I know how you got these. That is the most like I love the fact that this serious film, this realistic film, has a proper cheesy Batman cartoon ending. Like literally when you used to watch the Batman cartoons, that's how he would defeat Joker. Joker would pin him down, then he would say something, and he's like, then Batman would do his one-liner, and then he would defeat him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm glad that they did that.
They stuck to the comic book.
They stuck to that bit. But I was like, that's so like iconic and so classic. I'm glad Nolan did that because I think because I'm sure Nolan grew up watching Batman as well. Of course. He must have. Yeah.
I mean, there's so like Batman, so universal. Yeah. There's so many fans. Even like actually, it's as we're moving through anyway, it gets to the fundraiser bit. Yeah. So in the fundraiser, there's that guy who says we're not intimidated by thugs by you. He's an actual politician who has featured in these films because he's such a fan of DC.
Yeah. That's mad.
So he was an actual politician. Yeah. So it just shows like, all of these people, you can come from all walks of life.
Batman is also seriously as old. Batman, I think, is one of the oldest comic book characters ever created.
I think either 30s or 50s or something like that.
I think 1930s. Yeah,
Superman and Batman were really old.
Batman's older than Superman. Batman came out before World War II started. I think Superman was created because of World War II. Because they needed that American hero. But Batman and Superman are older than DC itself.
So
they basically just got the rights from it. Yeah. Because Batman's super old. Like people older than my grandparents have been watching Batman.
Damn, I didn't know that.
So yeah.
I didn't know. So I thought they created.
I'm pretty sure like either that or maybe it changed into DC. But I'm pretty sure this saying is they were created first and then they just like bought the rights or they moved to DC or something like that. Yeah.
I think this whole sequence is one of my favorite bits of the film where so obviously Joker comes in and he's like, we made it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I think it's well known that Michael Caine was supposed to have a line, but that's the first time he saw Heath Ledger's Joker.
And he was like, he froze.
He was so shocked.
He froze. Yeah.
And that whole thing where during the fundraiser, you see Bruce Wayne throw out his alcohol. You see Joker, he takes a cup of champagne, throws most of it out, takes a sip.
Yeah.
It shows they both don't want anything clouding their judgment. They're both like, they don't want anything like alcohol that's going to affect the way they think.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the point where Rachel then confronts him. And Nolan uses this shot quite a lot, which I noticed. It's the one where it keeps spinning around.
Yes,
and it's
circling
just,
around the people. Yeah,
to centralize
he
those
uses
characters.
it earlier as well when
On the roof, right?
on the roof where Gordon and Batman are talking to each other. He uses it in that shot as well. Yeah. And it is that thing. He's centralizing the characters, and he's trying to make the characters like in the middle and like giving them that space as well. You know, like showing that this conversation is very important. It can't just be like a over the shoulder shot or anything like that. It has to be circling around. I love that. I love those type of shots. Yeah.
I think those shots and the helicopter shots where they use the IMAX cameras and you see like the vastness of Gotham.
It's incredible.
Amazing. Because a lot of it was filmed in Chicago.
I think majority of it is filmed in Chicago. Yeah.
So you see like just obviously Chicago is a big city.
Yeah.
And it kind of comes through on camera as well how big Gotham really is.
Definitely.
And then obviously after the whole kind of they managed to save Dent from being captured.
Yeah.
And then he then starts targeting his next people. So he's got like the mayor's going to be targeted.
Yeah.
And then you have the whole sequence of where the Joker. That's the only time you see him with no makeup, but you still see the scars.
Yeah, you still see the scars. It shows off the scars as well.
Yeah.
But even without the makeup, he looks so menacing as well. Like he looks terrifying. Yeah.
I think that is supposed to kind of. Did he ever have like an army background, the Joker?
I think I'm not sure if he did or not.
In the comics or something.
I wouldn't be surprised considering how practical. Not in the comics, definitely not.
Okay, fine.
But I think in this universe, I think if a theory is that he did have an army background because you see him use all these guns and stuff like that, and he uses a freaking rocket launcher on the thing, and like
that's what I'm saying. He knows how to.
He knows how to use weapons, and he knows how to fight as well. He definitely knows how to fight because he does outsmart Batman.
Yeah.
So it is that thing of like, he does know some things.
Yeah, that bit. Where how he basically he knows that the mayor is going to be targeted, and they got it all from the fingerprints of the bullet.
I
used to always be confused that I have no idea what they're doing here. It's only this time when I watched the film that I could finally put together like, they're getting the fingerprint. Whose fingerprint is it? And then they find the kind of all the list of addresses that are towering over that area. And then obviously when Bruce Wayne goes and he's got like a clear shot of what's happening. Like only after watching it this time did I actually understand it properly.
It just plays into the intelligence of like Batman as the great detective, as the world's best detective. But I like the fact that in this film, it's not just Batman doing it, it's Alfred as well. It's showing that, look, Batman... Yeah, he can do some things, but also Alfred is also very smart.
He needs
as well.
these people,
because Alfred's helping him so much. Alfred, Lucius, like those are the guys that are helping him. There's right hand men, So
this is the bit, where I feel like Harvey Dent starts to unhinge a bit as well.
Yeah,
because he's been trying so hard to do all of this.
Yeah.
He's been, kind of slowly chipping away at the mob, but then all the money gets taken. And he ultimately fails, and that's when the whole roof thing's happening.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, he sees Rachel's name on the tag.
Yes.
So then he takes that guy who's the Arkham inmate or whatever, and he just like starts to lose it.
He starts interrogating the polka dot man.
The polka
dot man. He takes the polka dot man.
I thought that was really interesting, in the fact that that's where you start to see him unraveling.
Yeah, that is literally when
it gets worse.
That's
and
when
worse.
he becomes. That's when the early stages of Two-Face start.
That's also when he says like when Batman was like, I'm going to surrender, basically, isn't it? And then it's the whole chase and everything.
I also noticed with like that character Harvey Dent, there's so many shots in there where they use lighting to put shadows on half his face because it's that foreshadowing. We know who he's going to be because again, Two-Face, Joker, these are iconic villains. We know as soon as you say Harvey Dent, we know he's going to be Two-Face. As soon as you see the coin first time, you know, okay, he's turning into Two-Face at the end of this film. He's going to become Two-Face. And then but Nolan knows Nolan knows we all know. So he's like, you know what, you guys know, so let me just do whatever I can to hint at it, so like, he put the shadows on half his face. He does so many, there's so many shots where it's just half of Harvey Dent's face, which I'm like, you're teasing this. You're teasing this. You are teasing this. Yeah. Oh man. But like really like that scene, that interrogation scene is like, it's so tense as well because you genuinely think he's gonna kill him, but then when Batman stops him as well, it shows that Batman, like, even though that guy's an Arkham inmate, he does care about him.
He's got a moral side.
He's got moral, it shows Batman's morality, and his number one rule is he doesn't kill, it is that thing.
I don't think he's ever directly killed someone in the trilogy.
Not directly killed someone.
Like Ra's al Ghul, obviously, with the train crash kind of thing.
Well, he doesn't directly.
Indirectly.
No, because the line in that film is he says to Ra's al Ghul, "I'm not going to kill you, but I'm not going to save you either.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
he flies away and then
Yeah.
lets them crash. And then the next one, but he doesn't kill Bane.
No, that's
Catwoman kills
does.
Bane. Yeah. So it's really interesting that, like, they do it.
They keep his morality.
I'm glad they do, because I know a lot of future, like, after that, Ben Affleck kept killing people left, right, and center. And
I know.
Sakes, man.
I know.
Like, it ruins that character completely. Because Batman's whole point and his whole origin is, his number one rule is he does not kill. Batman does not kill. He saw his parents die.
Exactly.
He does not kill. That's the whole point. I mean, in Batman Begins, they do that whole scene where he's supposed to sacrifice someone, but he doesn't kill them.
No.
And because he knows, I'm not going to kill. You know? And I like that about Batman. Even though he's this dark, menacing, brutal, like, figure, he won't kill. He'll beat them to a bloody pulp, and break their limbs and everything, but he ain't going to kill them.
Just about, but not quite.
I'll just about kill you. I'll paralyze you. I'm not going to kill you. I'll give you life-threatening injuries. You won't ever be able to eat your food again. But I'm not going to kill you. But which I find really funny sometimes.
I think the next bit where it comes up, I thought that was done so incredibly. The chase scene where he's in the SWAT van, and then the whole lorry takes out that SWAT van of kind of police officers, and then
that's my favorite action scene. That's in that film.
Ever or in the film?
Not ever, but in the film, that's my favorite action scene.
So good.
It's the moment when the truck flips. Oh my god!
That was all real life.
It's all real.
Yeah, real time. It wasn't like a smaller scale or anything.
Yeah, and I love the fact, like, just before that, just Joker, he missed, and then it flips. I was like, oh my god, like, don't get cocky, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't believe how. Because it's not slowed down, that thing, because of the truck is so big. It's literally, and gravity, it's literally taken that long to fall. Which, when I saw it first time, I was like,
it was completely silent as well. That was what made it so good.
I love that it's silent. It's like they want you to hear the truck going up. You want you to hear the gravitational force.
You know, they had a driver in that at the time.
Because
you see it. They reinforced everything. And then the piston to knock it up.
It's because they wanted that shot of Joker flying up. You want to see him fly up, and because of that, you need to see the driver in there. Which I feel sorry for that stunt coordinator who had to be in there. The guy who had to draw the short straw. I guess I'll have to do this then.
The only bit of CGI I think one of the very few was the helicopter crashing. That was CGI.
So I could probably count on one hand the CGI is used. So helicopter crashing, that's CGI. The bit where it turns from the Batmobile to the Batpod, that's CGI. The bit where Batman, just before the hit me bit, like he drives up and to a wall, and then he skids up a building. That's obviously CGI. But then, and then Harvey Dent's face. I think that's genuinely the only CGI they use in the film. Everything else is real. And I will. I mean, I know we're gonna come off to interesting shots in a moment, but I will say that shot where the hit me scene is, oh my god! Like, there's so many great scenes, but that bit is so iconic, and the way Joker's just like shooting and he's
getting everyone out of the way
because he knows Batman's not going to kill him. He knows he's not going to kill him, so he
wants him to do it.
He wants him to do it, but he knows he's not going to do it. And that's where the psychological, his mental state, like all the psychology plays in, because he can psychology, like he can beat Batman mentally. He can, even if it's not physically, mentally, he's got easily beat him mentally, and it's the fact that, like, that thing, I want you to do it, hit me, and I love the fact as he's coming closer, he gets louder and deeper as well. And I love the fact, like, because the Joker's usually got a very high pitched, squealy voice. I love the moments, all the moments where Heath Ledger goes deep, like that bit where he's interrogating him in the video, and he's like, look at me,
incredible.
I'm like, this is
like, you get goosebumps hearing it when he does that.
It makes you you take the Joker seriously. It's the only film where you actually take him seriously. And that bit where he's like, hit me, it's, oh my god, like, it sends chills down my bones. And every time I see it, I'm like, this is so good. So, and then you get that iconic shot as well when he passes him of the Joker turning around.
That's what he's for
used in so many posters, so many pictures. It's like all the tribute pictures you see for Heath Ledger, and the tattoos people get as well of Heath Ledger. They use that pose because it's such a powerful shot and such an eerie shot, but it just represents that character so well.
That look that he has on his face.
That look, yeah. And it's that look of like, yeah, I've beaten you, you know, I've won this. Like, he knows I've won, you know,
Like you said, like how he's got the mental edge.
Yeah.
You can really tell in the interrogation room.
Yeah, he's 2 steps ahead of everyone. Yeah. He's 2 steps ahead of Batman, of the thing. Yeah, because even when he gets caught, he knows how to escape. Yeah. He's got his breakout plan.
Yeah, exactly. You know? I think what they did really well here is that they didn't treat one better than the other. Yes. In the interrogation scene, they both had them both sitting down. Yeah. There's shots over the shoulder for both of them.
Yeah.
And they're showing them that they're sitting down. They're both equals. Yeah. It's not like Batman's towering over him, apart from at the beginning when he knocks his head.
But I love that shot, though, because, like, again, in terms of lighting, you know, shadows.
Good. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Christian Bale was there the entire time. But because of the use of lighting, he was just there constantly. But I love the fact that, like, before he hits him, I don't know if you notice, Heath Ledger closes his eyes and clenches, because I think he actually hits his head onto the table, and because he knew that was going to happen.
Okay, so he told him.
Well, he told him to do it, but so before he grabs his head, Heath Ledger does this because he knows that he knows he's behind him, so he's like that.
He knows what's coming.
It's like the few times Heath Ledger breaks character in that film, because he's like, he knows what's going to happen. He's like, oh dear.
Wincing.
He's wincing because he's like, it's going to hurt.
He was telling, so even like Heath Ledger he was telling Christian Bale to actually punch him.
He was telling
him. And I think Christian Bale was saying like, nah, I'm not going to do it. But he was saying, just do it.
Just do it,
yeah.
I think, in my opinion, I don't know about you, but I think that's the best scene in the entire film. The interrogation scene. I think, in my opinion, if you... Not action scene or anything like that. Okay, fine. I mean, best scene overall. Yeah. I think that's the greatest scene in the entire film. That interrogation scene. It's that fact of, again, we were discussing this last week in The Godfather. He's getting beaten up and he's cowering, but he's on the floor. But for some reason, even though he's getting his ass kicked, he's getting beaten up
he's
so
getting
badly.
Pleasure from it.
He's getting pleasure from it, but the Joker is in control. Yeah. He's more powerful, and Batman's getting angry. He's resorting to violence. Yeah. He's literally like, I can't beat him with my words, so I'm just going to beat him up instead. Yeah. It's so comparable to, like, you know when, like, criminals who are outsmarting police and stuff like that, what do police resort to? Violence. Police brutality. Yeah. It's literally the same. And I love that fact when, like, Joker's like laughing, and he punches him, and he's like, "You have nothing that you could threaten me, you know, like you could threaten me with." And I'm like, "Oh, I love this." Like, again, even though he's bigger, stronger, and is standing on top, you know, and Joker's there, like on the floor, you know, like scrambling away. Joker's in control of that entire scene. He's winning that interrogation.
I think I agree. I think that is probably the best piece of dialogue and kind of back and forth in the whole film. Exactly. Because it's just them two. Yeah. You know, he's basically jammed the door so no one can get in. Yeah. It starts off as a mental game, then it gets more physical. Yeah. And then ultimately, you know, Joker wins. Like, he manages to get, he wanted to obviously get both of them killed, but he wanted to get Rachel killed, and it actually worked better for him that he could then flip Harvey.
Yeah, because he knew, like, Joker knew he would go for Harvey. Yeah. He knew he's going to go for Harvey because if Harvey dies, Joker's won. Yeah. He knew that, you know, and but it was that thing of, like, even when, like, he jams the door as well, you see Gordon getting, like, panicking and stuff like that. That's when the police can see, oh shit, he's unhinged. You know, we can't trust this guy. And Batman literally, like, his mentality, Bruce Wayne's mentality and Batman's mentality, they just, it flips, you know.
The only person who I think is actually in control of this whole film is the Joker. Yes. You can see Batman gets unhinged here. Yeah. You can see Harvey Dent gets unhinged. You can see Jim Gordon panicking and getting unhinged.
Definitely.
You know, Joker, in terms of the main characters, he's the one who's always essentially got his head screwed on, that he knows what's happening.
He knows what's happening.
Or even if he doesn't, he still has control of the situation.
He's got a massive plan, a mastermind plan, and if something doesn't go his way, he's got a backup plan. He knows what he's going to do if something doesn't happen. Like when he gets caught, he was meant to get caught. You know? Like all these things. Like even when, at the end, when he gets captured as well, he literally says...
He doesn't care.
I don't care. I've, you know, won because Harvey Dent has turned against you guys. You know, you can't convince him not to because he's lost everything. He knew Rachel was the most important person to Harvey Dent. And, you know, he won. He won. And
I think, you know, leading on from there as well, it actually follows quite nicely in the film because after the bit where he escapes, he then essentially, you know, threatens everyone about the hospital blowing up, all that kind of stuff, which we spoke about. But then when he goes into the room where Harvey Dent's being held, you can see how he's manipulating Harvey Dent. That, you know, he he did all this stuff with just a few resources. It's not like he had all this money. He just had a few resources that he managed to turn the city on its head.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of people probably know this, but when he holds the gun up, he's holding down the hammer. So even if Harvey pressed it, nothing was going to happen.
Nothing was going to happen. Yeah.
Exactly.
Happen anyway.
So that's just another kind of representation of how ahead of the game that he is.
Another like little like plot hole point as well, which I like. You know, our lovely producer actually pointed this out. When she watched the film. Don't you think it's really funny when like Joker's there, he's wearing the mask, and then Harvey Dent's like not reacting on someone. He takes off the mask, and then he like he's standing something like, and like it's like you couldn't tell that was the Joker. I know. He's still wearing the makeup and everything. The fact he takes the mask off, that's when he realizes, it's the Joker. Oh no,
this is like
the Joker.
It's like one of those little plot holes which I noticed as well, but it's something which doesn't impact the storyline. But I was just thinking, how have you not noticed?
That's like if Spider-Man was wearing a Spider-Man mask and he like says, "You don't know, guess who I am? I'm Spider-Man." It's like stupid shit like that.
I know, but
are you kidding me?
I think how you mentioned when I was watching the film, I was like, why have they done this? But then you mentioned that like Christopher Nolan keeps certain moments in the film where it's like not as realistic. So it's very comic book. And I think now that you mentioned it, I think back at these points. I look back at these points and I'm like, okay, maybe he's doing.
But that one was just ridiculous. I was like, are you kidding me? You did
fully caked up with makeup and everything.
And then he takes his mask off. Oh no, it's the Joker.
Oh god.
Oh dear.
That was another kind of 1-2 kind of interaction that I really enjoyed.
I really enjoyed that. I also really like the scene before that where Gordon visits him in the hospital, and then Two-Face is like, what was that word you guys used to call him? And the Two-Face reveal.
Say it.
Say it. Yeah. I also love the fact that when he turns around, they don't show him straight away.
No.
And then he goes back. And then, but like continuing on that shot, then he turns around and you see it. And
it makes it more menacing.
I remember when I watched that film in cinemas, a good story, like one of my friends, like he watched that film before me. And he said to me, oh my god, when I saw Two-Face's reveal, oh my god, I nearly threw up. Like, it's terrifying. It's so scary. Like, honestly, you're not ready for his reveal.
Oh my god.
And then I watched it and I was like really scared. I was like, oh god, what can they do? I saw him and I was like, okay, it's not so bad. It just looks like Two-Face. Like I played Arkham Asylum and I played all like the video games. I knew Two-Face in the comics and I was like, what's wrong with that? I literally was like so desensitized to violence that when I watched it, I was like, it's not that bad. He was like,
I thought it was. I wouldn't say it's terrifying. I thought it was.
It's gross.
It was gross.
It's like, oh my god! Like, could you imagine if someone touched that and you're like, ugh, you know?
I like that he wore the same suit afterwards as well, because even that's all.
That's an ode to the comic books, because in the comics as well. Exactly. In the comics, like, there's different versions. So there's one version where like one suit is normal, one side's normal, one side's completely burnt. But then there's an early version where in the suit, he just wears like one suit that's black, one suit that's white.
Isn't that what? Is it Tommy Lee Jones? His Two-Face character?
Yes, Tommy Lee Jones from Batman Forever.
Was that black and white?
I think that was black and white. I believe so. I keep forgetting he's one of the villains in that. Two-Face, he's never the main villain. He's always just like
he's a side kind of character.
Yeah, he's always a side character, which is a shame because he is a good character.
I know. I mean, I think so. This moment, you obviously see that Joker's now got into Harvey's head.
Yes.
You know, he's set him on his pathway.
He's brainwashed him. He's corrupted now. Yeah.
And so Joker's basically threatened the whole city, and then this is where you see Harvey doing his little side mission.
Yes.
So he gets Detective Wirtz, gets him killed. But you know the bit when he's going to Maroni?
Yes.
You only briefly see it, but Maroni's getting into the car, and then the camera follows him panning right.
Yeah.
Just before he pans right, his man on the left, you see him get pulled back.
See it,
and it's basically when Harvey Dent comes.
That's when he comes in. I've noticed that bit before, and even like before he shoots the driver as well, Harvey Dent pulls the seatbelt away because you know he's gonna get out of the car. Yeah,
exactly.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, he buckles himself in.
Yeah,
and then obviously it's too late for Maroni to do anything.
Yeah.
So he kind of kills him like that anyway.
Yeah.
But that I thought was quite interesting because you only get a glimpse of the kind of how it was done.
Yeah.
So I quite really liked how that kind of all those little details that are kind of scattered throughout the film essentially. And then obviously now it's like the last act. You get to the kind of two ferries.
Yes.
You know, obviously neither decide to blow each other up. Ultimately, Batman wins.
Yeah.
And I think in this bit you see a lot of Batman as Batman with his gadgets and everything.
Yeah,
You see him with
this
the rope.
is like classic Batman.
Yeah,
Like this is like
exactly.
comic book, cartoon Batman, and even like the sonar. So I don't know if you've seen the comic books or the animations. Batman has white eyes,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that as
yeah,
soon as he has a sonar, that's kind
yeah,
of like a fan nerd moment
yeah,
because
yeah,
like
yeah,
because every Batman adaptation before that in the films,
yeah.
he never had those eyes. It was just like
Okay.
just you could see the
Slits or
person's
something.
eyes.
Yeah.
Whereas this is the first Batman film where you can actually see the white
They
eyes.
actually made it
They made
practical.
it practical,
Yeah,
yeah, and I
yeah,
was like, "Oh my god, they finally did this!"
yeah, yeah,
This is incredible, and
yeah,
I absolutely love like that entire scene. It's like a
yeah,
throwback to classic Batman, and like it's kind of the filmmaker's way of saying, like, "Look, guys, I know Joker's all love the Joker and stuff like that, but still remember this is a Batman film. Here we go. This is the moment where Batman's gonna come badass.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like
yeah,
this is the moment."
yeah.
I love that bit before he jumps into the building where Gordon's like, "If you go into that building, I'm gonna shoot. Like, I
Yeah,
will
yeah,
fire." You know, and
yeah,
that's that moment where Gordon's like the cops are just like, right, this is
yeah,
Batman's a fugitive now. That's the
yeah,
moment that breaks it.
yeah,
I love all the shots with the sonar.
yeah.
Even when
Those are
he's
so cool.
even when he's fighting Joker, like when he interrupts it and then you see it flickering and
Yeah,
it's the POV and you
yeah,
look and you see Joker coming
yeah,
towards
yeah,
the
yeah,
camera. I was
yeah.
like, oh my
That
god,
was so
that's
cool. Yeah,
such
yeah,
a well done shot as well.
yeah, yeah.
Also another bit of CGI. I'm pretty sure, and I'm hoping that when he chucked the dog down the elevator,
I think it was.
I'm hoping that was CGI.
No,
And
no,
then,
either CGI or it would have been like maybe something like
like a prosthetic.
prosthetic. Yeah, yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I think the dogs are a reference to in the comics. Harley Quinn has 3 hyenas. I think
Okay.
the three Rottweilers. I think they're a reference to that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, because no one's gonna be walking around with hyenas.
Yeah, and even in the Birds of Prey film, they use I'm pretty sure they use CGI hyenas. I don't think they use
Okay,
real
fine.
hyenas. Yeah,
I
because
don't think it's hard.
hyenas are a bit difficult to work with.
Yeah.
Dogs not so much, but I think hyenas
Yeah,
are a little
yeah.
bit tricky to work with.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. You know who I really liked? You know,
Yes.
in the prisoner's boat, you know that big guy who ends up
Oh
going,
yeah.
he just seems so menacing. But he's
Yeah.
like one of those like big guy, soft personality.
So yeah,
Like that's how they
definitely.
made
Yeah,
him come
yeah. That's how
across.
they made him. Yeah.
Like his time in prison has maybe not softened him, but made him realize, what he's done is wrong.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to
He
have blood on his hands
It
again.
kind of reminded me of the character from the Green Mile, a little
Yeah,
bit. Yeah,
yeah,
very
yeah.
similar to that.
Yeah.
Do you know how funny it would have been if he chucked the trigger and it accidentally
Yeah,
went
yeah,
up the
went
other boat? Yeah, he'd be like, "Oh shit!" Like, fucking hell.
Oh,
I
gosh.
think that's one of the amazing. I don't think I've seen a film where they've done something like that where it's too. It basically it challenges your morals because
Yeah,
the obvious answer is, "Oh, you blow up the boat with prisoners."
yeah.
But not only are the prisoners on there, the crew's on there as well.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
cops
yeah.
on there as well. And also, some of these prisoners they may not be that bad.
Yeah,
you
or
know?
they could be reformed.
They could be
Or
reformed,
reforming.
or even there could be families of people on the other boat as well.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, what decision do you make? I love the fact that they both decide, no, we're not going to do it. We're just going to accept our
Yeah.
fate.
yeah.
Because that moment is the citizens saying, no, we're not letting the Joker win.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
even Batman even says that to him as well. Like, no, look, see,
You've
people
lost.
people aren't as weak as you guys.
Yeah,
yeah, people aren't as weak as you. You know.
Yeah, I really liked that ending. That it wasn't like just one massive fight to kind of end everything.
yes.
It was a fight, kind of like a tactical kind
Yeah,
of fight
yeah,
instead.
yeah.
So I really liked that it ended on that the Joker lost in this part of the plan, but he also loses overall. He thinks he's won.
Yeah, he thinks
But
he's
then
won,
Batman
yeah.
ultimately ends up saving the day when
Yeah.
he stops Harvey Dent killing Jim Gordon's son
Yeah.
and all this kind of stuff
But
as well.
yeah, because like at the end of the day, well, you say, but I mean, technically, if they decided to reveal Harvey Dent was the person killing all these people and
Yeah.
how he turned out, then I think Joker will won. But Batman ultimately decides Joker can't win, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the fall for Harvey
Yeah,
Dent.
yeah.
Like, don't
It's
tell
like a
anyone.
selfless act.
Don't
yeah.
tell Harvey Dent became like this. Just say that I killed him.
Yeah.
Even though Harvey Dent was about to kill his kid and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's just Batman was just like, no, morally, like morally, I know this is wrong, but like we can't. If this happens, Gotham has lost.
It's lost,
Batman, like Joker's won. You
Yeah.
know, Joker will have succeeded in his plan in destroying the White Knight.
Yeah.
You know, but
It's all about,
Yeah.
it all comes full circle back to the duality and choice. That,
Yes.
he makes the choice to sacrifice himself.
yeah,
And there's that whole duality where you even see at the end where it's showing Harvey's Two-Face face.
yeah.
And then he turns it over saying, this is the face we
This,
want
this is the
everyone to
face we
see."
wanted. Yeah, we
Yeah.
want him to be like this,
Yeah.
and then he says, "Just paint me as the Dark Knight. Paint
Yeah.
me as the villain."
That
And-
ending and the speech by
Oh,
Gordon was
such a
so
great,
good.
yeah, and I love the fact that it ends with the words "the Dark Knight."
Yeah, yeah.
And that shot where Batman's riding into the distance and you see the light, and,
Yes,
and
yeah,
it
yeah,
ends
yeah.
as soon as the light peaks. I'm like, that's so like he literally looks like some like savior, or like just like some like brooding like western. It's kind of like a western shot, you know, like a western like outlaw riding off into the sunset. That's kind of what they wanted. But it's a classic Nolan shot, you know, ending on such an epic shot and cutting, doing a hard cut, and then getting right into the music. You know?
100%.
Absolutely incredible. You know, I was just absolutely like, you know, blown away like with what they do. I love all the shots with the back signal as well, because I love the fact that they decided to show with the back signal like reflections on like cars and stuff like that. So no matter where you are in Gotham, you will see the back signal. You know, other things that I noted in terms of like interesting shots. A lot of Batman's action scenes are in the dark with shadows, minimal lighting, make it deliberately difficult to see him. They want us to be disorientated as well as the villains, you know? But also, I love the fact that they stay to true form where Batman is only Batman at night. When Bruce Wayne needs to do something in the daytime, even if it involves something with a bit of action and he needs to be concealed and stuff like that, he still goes out as Bruce Wayne in the day, which I find really interesting. The fact he doesn't like conceal his identity when he's going out in the day.
Only in Dark Knight Rises, that's when he's like in the daytime.
And I like the fact that in this film, there's not much Bruce Wayne. It's mainly a Batman film. You know, you don't really see Bruce Wayne that much.
No.
And even like there's so many bits where you see Batman and Gordon so many times together in this film. You see them like them two on screen a lot together. And then when Gordon sees Bruce Wayne, you forget, oh yeah, they actually don't technically know each other.
I know.
Yeah, but it's weird, you know, it's really weird.
Would you say this is more of a Batman film or more of a Joker film?
I would still say this is more of a Batman film. Yeah, I still would say Batman film because, you know, it's about his morals and stuff like that. Even though Joker does steal the show, I wouldn't say this is a Joker film, you know. This is very much still a Batman film. And, you know, it's more exploring the disadvantages of being Batman. The negative aspects of being Batman. This is the Batman film where he's not the hero. Which I absolutely love, you know. But then, obviously, in the next film, then they make him back into that hero again. This is the beginning. I mean, it's in the names, you know. Batman Begins. It's his beginning. The Dark Knight is just—it's called the Dark Knight purely because that's what he is. He is a Dark Knight. You know, he's not a hero. He's not Batman. He's just a Dark Knight. The next film, The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight is rising from the ashes. You know, it's his comeback. You know, he's back now. You know, and he's, you know, returning and becoming a better person and just, you know, saving Gotham once again, but also knowing that he can't be Batman
That's
forever.
it, because once he's essentially risen, you know, he has to put a stop to it. Otherwise, the same thing's going to happen. He'll either live, you know, die a hero, or live long enough to become
the villain. Because even if he, you know, did defeat Bane at the end of it, either way there will be another villain.
Exactly, someone's always going to come. Was there anything else that you noticed, like, or anything that you wanted to mention in terms of the shots or anything like that you saw?
I thought the use of sound was really incredible in this film, especially like when, like, for example, the Joker, like when they say they've killed the Joker and he comes in the body bag and he rises and you hear that really like jump.
It's very like it's quite
sudden,
harrowing,
and it's a jump scare as well, you know. And also the bit where the fake Batman comes swinging in and hitting the window. Oh my god! Like that's probably the scariest scene in the film, and they use like a really like scary soundtrack when it happens. It's almost like a scream. You know, I'm sure in cinemas, like I was terrified when I saw that scene. So many people have been terrified when they've seen that scene. It's absolutely crazy. You know, there was some interesting fact that I found about the film. So less technical, but interesting fact. So you know, in every single of this trilogy, right, the villain is always disguised as someone else, as a decoy. Because in the first film, in the first film, Ra's al Ghul, you think another guy's Ra's al Ghul, but it's actually Liam Neeson. In this film, in the beginning, you don't know who the Joker is, but he's actually in disguise. And then the next film, you think Bane. I can't remember the Bane one actually.
No, it's Talia al Ghul.
Talia al Ghul, that's it. Yeah. Talia al Ghul is actually the villain. Yes,
It's always like, I feel like he's always had two villains kind of.
He's always
coming up and going. One's the main one in the kind of forefront, and then you have one in the background. Maybe pulling all the strings or something like that. I think
it's one of the few superhero films where they've actually done multiple villains and it's worked. Whereas Spider-Man tried to do it and they fucked up all the time. You know, the only one that worked was No Way Home. That's it. But nearly every Spider-Man film where they've had multiple villains, it completely fucked up. You know, whereas Batman, they did it in a way where they interconnected both villains, and it just works so well.
I think it's a skill Nolan has.
Yeah.
Like, he's such a good storyteller
Definitely.
that he can just get all of these kind of loose bits,
Yeah.
and then they somehow come into the end.
Yeah.
It all makes sense.
So many different elements, and he can integrate them. If Nolan did a Marvel franchise, what would you want him to do?
Ooh.
Because in my opinion, I think I want to see another superhero film by Nolan.
I don't think he's going to do one, like, ever again, but
yeah,
I would love to see him direct a Wolverine film.
Ooh.
Or potentially like an X-Men film. But I think a standalone Wolverine film, very similar to, like, maybe not how Logan was, where he's like in the end of his kind of life, but maybe when he's a bit more kind of like how Batman is in Dark Knight. That sort of footing, or maybe like an X-Men film. I think I would like, because the characters in that, they're a lot more kind of layered, a little more. There's a lot more kind of layers to them, a lot more history to them. I was initially thinking Fantastic Four, but then the first thing that came back to me was Wolverine, I would say, because he's such an iconic character like Batman. I feel like for him to have a good standalone film, which he has had with Logan, but one where he's in his kind of main, in the peak of his life, would be really interesting.
Definitely,
for me. What would you think? What would you say?
Well, Wolverine's up there definitely, because it's that thing. Yeah, he should be in the peak of his life. It would be cool if Hugh Jackman played him again. I think that would be good, and it would be interesting seeing a Wolverine film with practical effects as well. Besides the adamantium claws, it would be really cool to see more practical effects, more like actual violence as well. This is a bit of a weird one, but I think it could actually work. I would love to see an Incredible Hulk film. But a prequel about how he becomes Hulk. And I think it should be, so he basically, not like an action film, it should be like Batman Begins, but I would want it at the end of the film, he becomes Hulk. So a Bruce Banner film.
So like how the Joker, he becomes Joker at the end, but obviously different kind of character. And
but I want to see literally a Bruce Banner film.
Interesting, okay. That would be quite cool.
It would be quite interesting.
I think storytelling-wise, that would be amazing if Nolan is able to kind of pull something off like that.
I think Nolan will be able to do it, because since Mark Ruffalo took the mantle, there's not been a Mark Ruffalo apart from She-Hulk, and that was a shit show. And I think because of that, it's ruined the Hulk character now.
Well, there's talks of a Planet Hulk coming, but we never know with Marvel. Like, there's so many rumors that come.
I think Nolan needs to save the Hulk, because the Hulk is an iconic superhero.
Yeah.
And I think the MCU, in my opinion, has made him into such a big side character.
Yeah, they have.
In the original Avengers film, he was one of the main Avengers.
He was sick. He was so good.
A really small side character. I think Hulk needs to be redeemed.
Yeah, I like the whole angle they went with Professor Hulk, because it's more about this guy who's also got these mental issues, but he overcomes them.
Yeah.
But I want to see more of, like, big angry Hulk.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think if they are going to do a World War Hulk, and now that they're introducing Red Hulk as well, I think they'll bring it back somehow.
Fair enough,
but having Nolan maybe direct like a prequel or even get involved with it, I think would be that would be amazing.
I would also want Nolan's own Spider-Man trilogy.
Oh, okay.
I think Nolan can do it.
I don't think I think he could do
even though it will be quite CGI heavy, I think Nolan can pull it off. And I want it a different actor completely. I want the villains to look different. I want it to be like The Dark Knight. But with Spider-Man. Try to. I don't know how.
Would you? Do you think you'd do it like as a detective type film, how he's done these, or do you think it would be more light-hearted or something like that? Like, how do you think you'd do it?
I kind of see. I know a lot of people don't like the whole darkness of Amazing Spider-Man. But Amazing Spider-Man isn't that dark. It's not that dark anyway. I would want it to be like Amazing Spider-Man, where it's a bit light-hearted, but it's more real.
I actually really enjoyed Amazing Spider-Man.
I loved it. I think it's a great
series, even Andrew Garfield, like, some people say he's the worst Spider-Man.
No, he is not. He is not.
Maybe the other two are potentially better, but I don't think he's the worst Spider-Man. I think the way he played Spider-Man was amazing.
Definitely.
I think as Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire's better.
Yeah, he wasn't a great Peter Parker, but as a Spider-Man, Andrew was great.
He was so good.
He was so good, and like even the scenes when he's not wearing the mask as well, as Spider-Man, he's still great. I think we need to see a bit more of a darker tone like Spider-Man, but with still light-hearted themes.
That would be sick.
I think Nolan could do that.
Yeah, that would be sick.
Nolan, if you're listening to this, please do it. You're still young. You're still young. You can still go.
We believe in you.
Yeah, you have so many more films to make. Don't retire.
Oh god.
Yeah.
All right. Was there anything else that you?
No,
had
I
in
think
mind?
that's it, to be honest with you. In my opinion, I think we've covered a lot of these things already. Yeah.
This was one which I was like, I've had a lot of fun doing this one.
Yeah.
Even the research, talking about it
Yeah. I
now.
mean, it's one of the like most fun films to talk about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get down to our popcorn rating. So how many popcorns would you give it for storyline?
How many popcorns? So, okay. So storyline.
Yeah.
It's a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Definitely.
100%.
That was probably the easiest one to do.
Definitely. I mean, it's a great story. Like, it's such a good story. The best superhero story, I think. One of the best, actually.
I would go as far to say it's the best one.
Yeah, I think it is the best. Yeah, I think it is the best.
If it's number 3 on IMDb, a comic book movie is number 3.
Yeah, the fact that it is number 3, that it's overtaken Godfather Part 2 is madness, you know?
Like, crazy achievement.
Yeah.
What about acting? What would you give it for that?
Acting, I gave a 9 on that.
Okay, I gave 9.5.
It's good. It's a good film.
Yeah. I don't think it's the best acting I've ever seen.
No, it's not the best acting I've ever seen. And also, like, Michael Caine's great as Alfred, but his acting doesn't really shine that much in this film. But his acting shines a lot in the next film, though.
Yes.
Yeah, Michael Caine in the next film, his acting as Alfred is even better. You know? And actually, you know what? It's funny because even the previous film, Michael's acting is better as well. In this film, for some reason, his acting isn't. I think it's because he's not on screen that much. That's why.
I think the Joker just steals everything, and I think
Joker
that's
steals
why.
everything. Yeah. But I think I still love Christian Bale as Batman.
Yeah.
You know, Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face was incredible.
He was amazing.
No, I think the acting is good. I think I put it as a 9 because it would have. I don't know. I wanted a bit more of Maggie Gyllenhaal. You know.
Yeah.
I just
fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough.
But again, it's not a love story, and you know, and
exactly.
Yeah.
What about visuals?
Visuals, I gave it a 10.
I was thinking 10. I've given it a 9, which is probably a bit more critical. But the only reason I gave it 9, and I don't want to change these now, because when I first went through it, it's my initial impression. I think there were quite a few things that, like, for example, when they shot people, there's no blood, things like that.
Yeah,
I know it was going to push it to a 15,
yeah.
or potentially things like that. I thought maybe, you know, I know we've discussed it now, and I probably would change my answer now, but I'm just going to stick with the 9 that I gave.
That's all right.
You gave it 10, right?
Yeah, I gave it 10.
Yeah. And then pacing, I gave 9.5.
Oh, I gave it 10. I think it pays real pace. That's the thing with these films. It's like, I have nothing to complain about. The only thing I get to complain about is, you know, probably Maggie Gyllenhaal's like acting and also Christian Bale's fighting.
Yeah, I didn't like the fighting.
The fighting, his fighting specifically was not good.
It's just for some reason, like, I don't know if it's Christopher Nolan films or what, but the fighting isn't ever that good.
Inception had some good fight scenes.
Sorry, no, actually, you're right.
Yeah, Inception had some good fight scenes.
Inception. Okay, let's just stick to the Dark Knight trilogy. I don't think the fighting choreography is not good.
Actually, in this film, it's not good.
Yeah.
But in Dark Knight Rises,
I didn't like it.
Oh, I really like it. Because Dark Knight Rises, I like it because it suits his fighting style because Bane's so big and bulky as well. So you just basically have two heavyweights going at each other. And I think Dark Knight Rises, it suits a bit more. Whereas in this, it doesn't really suit.
I think in Dark Knight Rises, like, with Bane, I liked his fighting style.
Yeah.
Because he's very controlled initially. And then when at the end, when his mask kind of gets undone, he goes crazy.
Oh, like,
That bit was sick for me.
Yeah.
But then with Batman, I just feel like he was a bit too slow. And I think it's because he's older.
Yeah, he's older, But I think with Bane, I think his fighting style went a bit better because it complements Bane's fighting style really well.
Yeah, fine.
But I think in this, it just doesn't really work. When he's fighting like all the like cops and like when he's fighting like the henchmen, I feel like sometimes they're just letting him win. It looks like they're just letting him beat him up, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I mean, we're gonna go into that in a bit more detail soon anyway. So overall, with my total score, your total score, the overall rating is 9.63. So that actually probably
I think bigger than Godfather.
Yeah, so Godfather has 9.5.
Yeah.
So this is now our top choice at the moment, 9.63.
So you know
out of the three, I prefer this film the most.
Yeah, you know how I ranked Godfather above Shawshank Redemption?
Yeah.
I ranked this film above both of those films.
Yeah, same.
I think in my opinion, this film should be on the number 1.
Yeah,
list.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's I get like comic book films aren't for everyone.
Yeah.
But I think this is a comic book film done very tastefully for the kind of general public as well.
Yeah. And I don't think it's a generational thing because I know some people say, oh, because you guys are young and stuff like that. But, you know, as I said in last week's episode, you know, Godfather is over 50 years old and it's still a
yeah.
testament of time, and it's still a great film. You can watch it again. It doesn't matter how old you are, you're still going to enjoy it.
Yeah,
you know, it's still a great film. But so is this. But this is better.
Film.
This is even better. This has,
agree.
you know, it has everything that you want in a film. You know, this film has everything you want in a film. And as a film goes, this is one of the greatest films ever made.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it literally has everything you want.
Like I said at the beginning, I think this is probably my favorite film.
Fair enough.
But we are going to come across that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So obviously next week, as we said, we were going to basically do 3 films from the top 250.
Yeah.
And then maybe a couple of bonus episodes. So we've got something special for you guys next week.
Yeah.
Do we want to kind of give an idea what it is?
We can give an idea so people can actually listen to it next week.
Yeah, true. So obviously, Golden Globes have just gone.
Yeah.
BAFTAs are going to be coming up. Oscars coming up. So we're going to do kind of something different to what we've been doing. We're going to do kind of like a breakdown of the awards season. Kind of talk about, you know, maybe most nominated films, most wins, all that kind of stuff. If there's anything that you feel you want us to talk about regarding the awards, you know, you can message us on our Instagram, you can message us on Twitter, or even maybe leave a comment on the Spotify episode. We'll leave kind of like a little link for you guys to leave your thoughts and everything. And yeah, I guess we'll go from there. I mean, any kind of departing thoughts at the moment?
Well, like just with regarding next week's episode, you know, we're doing a bit of predictions of like, you know, who's going to get nominated for the Oscars, you know, checking out like who the favorites are to win the Oscars. You know, also talking about like categories we think should have Oscar nominations, you know, like categories like in film that don't really get as much appreciation for awards. So, you know, we'll be chatting about that. And I guess we can, you know, we'll pick up the whole IMDb top 50 soon, just because we need a little bit of a break. I think it's good to break it up.
I think so. I think we'll just do kind of different topics here and there. There's a lot of different ideas we've got in play that we're going to be kind of visiting in these, I guess, bonus episodes. So yeah, I mean, make sure you check us out next week. You know, leave comments what you want to see, what you want us to do differently potentially,
and in the meantime, whilst you're waiting for the next, you know, top 250 film that we're breaking down, the next film will be The Godfather Part 2.
Yes.
So you have plenty of time to watch it.
And
you know, you can watch it. Highly recommend watching it. It's, you know, an incredible film. If you love The Godfather 100%. Part 1, you're going to love Godfather Part 2. And, you know, like, it's good if you watch it and then listen to the podcast and, you know, you can see what we think. You know, you get an idea,
Maybe just do a breakdown with us as well. You can kind of watch it and then follow us along as we go.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Cool. See ya.